Welcome back to Module 8.3. In this lecture video, let's take a look at subtraction with real numbers. So what I want to do first is quickly introduce the wording additive inverse. Okay, most of the time I use the word opposites. Okay, additive inverse or the word opposite. Opposite means opposite sign of a given number. So additive inverse means the opposite of a real number is called the additive inverse. The opposite of a real number is called the additive inverse. The sum of a number and its additive inverse is always 0. So basically what it's saying is, for example, if I have 2x, for example, and here's another 2x. For the two terms to cancel out, they got to have opposite sign, because opposite sign combined, okay, will always cancel each other out. So they become 0. This is actually one technique we use in Module 11 of Math 108. Okay, in order for two terms to cancel out, they got to have opposite sign. Okay, called the additive inverse. All right. Now that's different if we are solving equations. When it comes to solving equations, okay, that means we're gonna have maybe some sort of term on one side, and there's the same term on the other side. Okay, if the two terms across from each other from the equal sign are exactly the same, then they will actually cancel each other out. So what that means is, for the additive inverse to actually make sense, this is referring to two terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. If they have opposite sign, same numerical value, same variable, opposite sign, they actually cancel each other out, become 0. So there was a problem in the last video where there was a -4 minus 9 plus 4. So we said that term with different sign, we will subtract. Okay, so they will actually cancel each other out, become 0. So that's basically said the same thing here. Both terms are 4 and they have opposite signs, so they automatically cancel each other out on the same side of the equal sign. Okay, I don't use the wording additive inverse much. I normally use the word opposite for the wording opposite sign. Okay, same exact term, opposite sign on the same side of the equal sign, always cancel each other out, become 0. So find the additive inverse for the given integer. That will be positive 92. Okay. Let me see. 192. And the reason why in this particular section of the textbook talk about the wording additive inverse, because another way of adding and subtracting with a negative is to turn all negative term into an additive inverse. Okay, and that goes back to addition of real number. Always make everything into addition, called the addition methods. Okay, so I'm not really going to show it to you that way as far as adding and subtracting real numbers. To make things easier, we just add when terms have the same sign, subtract when the terms has opposite sign. I think that's a quicker way to do most of these problems. All right, so let's take a look at some few examples here. So here I see an addition sign and the subtraction sign outside the parenthesis. So here I should have 3 terms. -2 is 1 term. Positive 10 is 1 term. And I should have a -7 as the 3rd term. So I got 3 terms in this problem. So I'm going to combine my positive 10 and -7 first, because when I see those two terms, I see them as 10 minus 7. Okay, and you can combine any two terms first of your choice. That will be fine. I just choose to do 10 minus 7 first, which will give me positive 3. Okay, got to write the sign. Okay, the only term that you do not write the sign for is when the first term is positive. Otherwise, every term got to have a sign. So the first term is still negative 2. All right, so now this problem becomes negative 2 plus 3. So these two terms have different sign. We will subtract. So normally when we subtract 3 and 2, we get a 1. Since I have more positive term than negative, my answer just be positive 1. All right, let's take a look at this on the right. So 2 additional subtraction sign outside the parentheses, so that gives me 3 terms. So once again, my first term, negative 16, I got second term, negative 116, second term, negative 114, and I got myself a positive 80. Alrighty, so let me combine the first 2 terms. So these 2 terms has the same sign, so mentally we will add them. Okay, we will actually add. So normally when we take 116 and 114, add them up, that should be 10, 1, 2, 3, 230. Would it be positive or negative 230? Well, since both terms are negative, so that will still be negative 230 plus 80. So now these 2 terms has opposite signs, so we will subtract them. So in our head, we take 230, subtract 80. 13 minus 8 is 5, and 2 become 1. So that'll be 150 when we first subtract them. Since I got more negative term as compared to a positive term, my answer will be negative. All right, so when it comes to parentheses again, okay, if you look at what's inside of each parenthesis, it's just indicating there's a negative number inside. So I'm going to make sure every term only has one sign. So my first term, positive 14. My second term is really positive 1 times negative 12. And my third term is now, this time, this third term, this is where it's interesting. Some people say subtract a negative. Subtract a negative means plus, okay? Again, that's very tricky to say it like that because when it comes to order operation, that's actually not always going to be true. Oh, Lord. Let me erase that. So here, I'm actually going to say my third term is really a negative 1 times the negative 3, which they will tell me my third term is really a positive 3. My second term is really positive 1 times negative 12, which is actually negative 12. All right, first term, 14, still 14. So this problem becomes 14 minus 12, which is 2, plus 3, which my final answer got to equal to 5. Okay, that's all it is. All right, so this one, I see subtraction sign, and another subtraction sign outside the parentheses. So 3 of those signs separate between 4 terms. My first term is simply just 86. My second term is really negative 1 times negative 54. My third term is really negative 1 times negative 19. And my last term, negative 74. So my second and third term, okay, has 2 different signs. So let's make sure that they only has one sign. So negative 1 times negative 54 is really just positive 54. All right, my third term, negative 1 times negative 19 is really a positive. Okay, and in a future video, I will show you, and I will formally introduce what the sign is supposed to be when it comes to multiplying and dividing. All right, first term is still positive 86. All right, last term is negative 74. So this problem is 86 plus 54 plus 19 minus 74. So these first three terms, let's add it up. I'm going to put 19 right here. I'm going to add up 10 plus 9 is 19. 8, 9, 10 plus 5 is 15. So that's 159. And now I'm going to minus my 74 here. Minus 74. You can go ahead and write it down while this thing continue to load. So 9 minus 4 is 5. 15 minus is 8. So my final answer, positive 85. Okay. Right? Greater than 159 minus 74, 85. All right, let's try some with fractions here. Just give you a couple examples. So subtraction of fraction, got to find the LCD. So LCD between 44 and 11 got to be 44 itself. So 44 becomes a new LCD 44 times by 1 times. 3 times 1 is 3. 11 becomes a new LCD, got to multiply by 4 or increase by 4 times. So 7 times 4 is 28. So my numerator now is really now become 3 minus 28. All right, so 3 minus 28, term with different sign, we will subtract. So mentally, when I subtract them, that should give me 25. But I have more negative than positive, then my answer should be negative 25 over 44. So the wording additive inverse is basically taking, right here, the additive inverse is basically taking any type of subtraction problem, turn them into plus a negative, okay? Make them into plus a negative. So then you'll be thinking about 3 plus a negative 28. This is using the addition method. Very dangerous doing it that way. To me, it seems kind of dangerous because I literally seen students done that way before with a 5 minus 4. Or regular 5 minus 4, student actually said plus a negative before. And then say that's a 1. Okay? So sometimes when we learn new things, we tend to forget about some of the things, some of the basic materials is still basic, okay? So a regular 5 minus 4 using additive inverse does make things a lot more complicated, it seems like. So that's why I just want to show y'all a quick, direct way. Term with different sign, we subtract, okay? More negative, the answer is negative 25 over 44. All right, let's check out this one. Subtraction again, LCD between 10, 5, 60. I believe it's going to be 30. Oh, come on. Alright, so my old denominator 10 should become new 30 times by 3. Numerator times by 3 as well. It's not letting me writing. I don't know why it does this now. Alright, 1 times 3 is 3. The old denominator 5 becomes a new 30 times by 6. Numerator times by 6, which is 18. The old denominator 6 becomes a new LCD 30 times by 5. 1 times 5 is 5. Alright, so let's combine our numerator together. So I'm going to do it here on the side, okay? So this whole entire numerator becomes 3 minus 18 minus 5. So tell you what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to combine the negative 18 and negative 5 together. These two terms have the same sign. We will add, which normally get 23. But since both terms are negative, that will be negative 23. My first term is still 3. So now these two terms have different signs, so we will subtract them. So normally when we subtract 23 and 3, we get 20. LCD is still 30. But what kind of 20 should I get? Well, I got more negative term than positive, so my answer should be negative 20 over 30. Which I know negative 20 over 30 can be reduced by 10. So my answer, negative 2 over 3. All right. So in this lecture video, we just basically do the same thing as we done in the previous one, where term with the same sign, we add, different sign, we subtract. When you see a term has multiple signs, we go ahead and make them into one sign before we add or subtract. All right, that will conclude this lecture video. Thank you for watching.